done to me.
This is Schneider reporting from the iCarly studio. Now perfect, ready for acting. She mushes them together in a mushing about way. There they are, like little jewels under her nose. Pretty good. Right there.
There are stories about his relationships with his underage teenage stars and how they led to spin-off shows for the girls or blacklisting for those who didn't participate.
Shake my foot! Shake it! I can't get it up that high! Hello! Woo! Woo! Psycho wins! Hey! Psycho wins his belly button! 4H!
A girlfriend of mine in the past, and she told me all about you, Danny boy. She told me how you sold Miranda Cosgrove into slavery and how you cauterized the Star David onto the forehead of babies.
I want you to read the second one. This is when she was underage. She was 15. On
All
Facebook.
right.
Read that.
Who wants to see Jeanette McCurdy's toes? I've got plenty of pics to go around if you tune into the new iCarly episode.
I'm terrified, Jeanette McCurdy! You're terrified! You're terrified! I just pushed Jeanette McCurdy on the floor! Now I got her foot and I'm dragging her about!
Schneider came up quite a few times with some of the people that I worked with, and this guy is just an absolute scumbag. It goes far beyond speed. He would have pool parties and invite all the kids over and be like, "Oh, we'll just take care of the kids. No adults need to come over." So he was having pool parties with these kids that were on the shows without any kind of adult supervision going on.
Wow, that's fucking weird, dude.
Now we're cooking with gas. This is getting fucking weirder with this guy.
Also, a friend, one of my friends that used to work on a couple of the shows they did. I mean, this goes back to the early '90s. This is back from like the all I believe the show was called like All That and Keenan and Kel and all that. It was shows from way back then.
Yeah, that was fucking shows we watched.
Yeah, when we were children.
Yeah, and he would spend extremely large amounts of time alone with the kids in their dressing rooms, and without any adult supervision in there either. He would get mad if you went and if the talent wrangler, the person who would usually handle all the talent, make sure they were on set when they needed to be. If they were going and whichever actor or actress needed to be on set, if they went to go get him and he was in the middle of talking to him, he would just berate the poor PA that was just trying to do their job for interrupting them. What? He was just he's just a sick dude, and people have known about this in the industry for a long time. This isn't anything that's new to people within there, and it's not anything new to Nickelodeon either. I don't know why Nickelodeon continues to put up with this guy.
She wants a restraining order.
Say nice things about me? Because I will tase her if necessary.
Uh-oh.
I have the taser. We haven't had to use it in a long time.
I said lots of nice things.
No, I said nice things.
That's going to get on TV.
What?
That's going to get on TV.
You get me. You never get me.
I just did.
Oh my god.
I go.
I got
going from now on?
Well, let me rewind a little bit because I want to get to Dan.
Okay.
So my poor mom, like, I hope there's like some mom out there that like understands, like, if your daughter comes in and she's like throwing up and like you have no idea where she's from, and my mom's like, can you please get Dan here immediately, get the producers here immediately, someone needs to figure out what just happened to my daughter. So the PA is like, sure, okay, and like they're all in their walkie-talkies, and like you can just hear the chaos through like the walkies. It's just like, find Dan, find this person. And we waited for a while, and the whole time my mom was like, what happened? I couldn't really tell her what happened. And I was like, I kind of almost want to wait because I remember hearing it in my mind, like I finally want the adults on the show to like understand what I'm going through. Like now this has escalated too far for me, and like I'm hoping somebody's gonna come now and be like, let's solve this problem. It's calm. She won't say what's happening. So then finally Dan walks in. And Dan has not helped the entire time. And I don't feel comfortable going into details about what I've seen with Dan or like what Dan is. But he comes through and with a smirk on his face. And because he's known the entire time that it was leading to this. He could have prevented this. Like he could have stepped in and been like, let's be friends here. We're on a kid's show. Like let's be, like even though we're kids, like an adult should step in and be like, let's be friends. Like how can we settle this? But no, that never happened. And so Dan comes in with like a smirk on his face, which he always had with me, not a nice guy. Comes in, he's like, what's going on? What happened, Alexa? Oh no, sorry, he goes, what happened now with you, Alexa? As if it's my fault, like immediately. And I finally start to blurt out, like, what happened? And like, what happened when I went to the trailer, and what happened? And he was like, you have to go on set. You have to film this last scene. And like, had no care. He's like, but I have something for you that will probably make you feel better. And I remember being like, what? Like, that's his response? Like, I'm throwing up here. Like, I'm sick to my stomach. This is awful. And his response, I need to get to set, and that, you know, he has something for me that's cool. And he just pulls out, you know those like portable DVD players that you could like put a DVD in and watch?
Yes.
He like his assistant like passes me this DVD thing, and I'm just like sitting on the floor, like I'm in the closet area actually, so I was like so scared I was in the closet area. I'm like looking at this DVD player, going like, this fucking DVD player means nothing to me, dude. Like, what? So strange. He's like, okay, so now go on set and let's finish this scene and we'll talk about this later. And so yet again, as a kid, I have to like be professional, even though I'm distraught and horrified and literally want to never see the face. Like I don't want to see the day ever again. Go on set. Everyone's being horrible to me. They start like shooting these water guns at me because like all the cast members had like water guns, and before we even started filming, they're like shooting water guns at me and laughing at me. Even like after they knew, because Jamie definitely knew what was going on. It's just horrible. And I'm like humiliated, just sitting there like have to pretend like I'm Nicole, who's like smiling and bubbly and like loves everybody and doing that. It's like a long-winded thing. I'm sorry, but so then afterwards, the execs call my mom and they're like, let's sit down with Alexa and, you know, hear her side of the story and like what happened and blah, blah, blah. And so my mom calls my lawyer, which I find out later was in cahoots with Nickelodeon, so she didn't have my best interest in mind. And they're like, yeah, just go and meet up with the execs, it's gonna be totally fine. We get to Nickelodeon on Sunset, and there's all the execs there, including Dan, and they ask my mom if I can go in there alone. And my mom goes, no, absolutely not. And I remember going like, yeah, Mom, like, she's not gonna like leave my side. Like, I'm afraid to be around any more adult. I'm afraid. And my mom goes, I have to call her lawyer first. We call my lawyer, and she ends up telling us that it's okay for me to go in there alone. Like, oh, it's fine. Nothing's gonna happen to Alexa. Like, the adults are gonna handle this professionally. Like, I kept hearing that word, professional, professional, professional. Everyone's gonna handle it professionally. Everyone has to handle things professionally. None of that was ever happening. And so she was like, don't worry. Like, Dan's in there, the execs, etc. Like, you're gonna be okay. And I was like, Mom, I really don't want to go in there alone. She's like, I promise. Like, these are adults now. Like, you're not dealing with Jamie. You're not dealing with, like, Dan's sometimes mean, like, but like he has other people around him now, so everyone will be keeping a watch on this situation, this dialogue. And I go in there and they literally sit me purposely. Here's a huge table that could seat like Jesus and his disciples. That just like goes across, and then they have like one chair for me on the other side. And I'm like, go sit down, Alexa. And literally the chair was too big for me. I felt so small. I have like, there's like 5 people in front of me that are all adults that are like Viacom and Nickelodeon, and Dan's right in the middle, so like directly across from me. Does not look happy. And basically they just went on this whole thing that it's not Nicole 101, it's called Zoe 101. If I wanted my own show, I should have went and got one. I have to basically be nice to I have to like handle whatever the lead character is dealing with, because I'm a side character and I don't matter when it comes to, like, in industry terms. I have to put on a good face, like I can't take it just like it went on and on and on. Like maybe there was some truth in what, like Dan was like, maybe there's some truth in what Brittany said, like maybe you shouldn't be in this industry, like maybe it's too much for you, like you can't handle it. It's like fucked up shit, like really, really. And it was like for 20 minutes I'm crying there just listening to all these adults like tell me that I don't really matter, that I shouldn't have been in the industry to begin with, that I don't really have a voice, that everything that I felt is irrelevant, basically, and that I need to be professional and just suck it up. And that's it. And he was like, well, who knows what's going to happen to you? And then they started telling me, like, you know what happens to kid stars? Like, nothing ends up happening with them. Like, your only chance is, like, continuing the show for a while, because, like, after you're not on it, like, people fall off. And it was just, like, this brainwashing, like, just made me feel like completely nothing. I was just like, nothing. I felt like nothing. Anyways, I left the room and I was crying. I told my mom I never want to be around those people ever again.
Hey. No, hey, wait. Did you get close up of this? Did you get close up of this one? No. I'm ready to demonstrate. Get more of that. What do you think of that actually? Oh, it was very explanatory. How much did it cost?
The bad case of the glands, sir.
You have your own gun? What's wrong with that thing?
They're infected, sir.
Like glands or infected?
There's only one way to cure your glands.
What do I have to do?
Tickle yourself.
Yeah!
Tickle yourself.
Oh, but I don't want to tickle my... All right, clams on. Yeah.
Oh, not yet. Now you have to say, woo, in a very high voice.
But I don't want to shit. Woo! Hi, I spent my morning as Mr. Altman, and darn did I have a good time. Don't mind my skin.
Okay, there's no more of that. No, Jackson. I'm pretty sure I'm making a voice off this tape.
Let's see what we Oh, boy.
To Dan Schneider, this is his Twitter, @DanRap. There's a tweet that he said, toes similar to fingers, but not nearly as good. Who agrees?
There's so many. He runs like the Victorious account, the Sam and Cat account, like the iCarly account. He always tweets.
At one point, he tweeted a picture of like Jeanette McCurdy's toes, who was a star on iCarly. He's like, guess whose toes they are? They're so beautiful and soft and delicate. I just want to like cuddle with them, or something weird along those lines.
That's not big. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, before everyone goes, yeah, but this just feet, this and that. Imagine if your kid comes back and goes, hey, you know, today when I was at school, the teacher was rubbing my feet. You would go and beat the ever-living shit out of the teacher.
Oh, no.
Like, I'm not saying it's illegal, but it's something where a parent would go, dude, don't fucking touch my kid.
Yeah. Like, we can't...
Because Leaf says in the chat, he paid somebody $100, at least in Reddit, they said, as a background actor, $100.
This girl was 12.
Yeah,
the girl was 12 years old.
And what? Go ahead, tell the story.
Well, basically, I saw this thing on Reddit, and she was an extra on the Amanda Show, and she talked about how Dan paid her $100 to see if her feet were ticklish, and he took her in the office alone and complimented her feet and like tickled them. Like,
And he said from there he just started like rubbing them and complimenting them, and she was like 12 years old.
Now this one here is Ariana Grande like crawling on the table and licking her lips. Like that is, come on.
Yeah, that took 115 takes.
Yeah.
Okay, so don't tell me that somewhere during take 30, nobody on the set was like, hey, I got a question. Are we really is this gonna end up in the final cut with her licking her lips on the which is very clearly like a school library table. Like the whole thing is just reeks of like pedophilia. Like to look at an image like that, it's like, what do you do? Like even the setting of it is school and like she's wearing like a fucking Letterman jacket. Like you know what I mean? There's a certain level of detail that went into that.
No, Mike, I want you to read the second one. This is when she was underage. She was 15 on
All
Facebook.
right.
Read that.
Who wants to see Jeanette McCurdy's toes? I've got plenty of pics to go around if you tune into the new iCarly episode. Eyeballs?
Yes.
This Friday on Nick.
Eyeballs. There's nothing to do with balls in the episode either.
There was somebody that used to write blind items for Hollywood people, and a lot of people speculated that it was Robert Downey Jr., but he said
we don't know for a fact if it was. We actually later on said, well, we don't know.
Right.
But it's very speculated. That's why we put that.
So they wrote about Dan Schneider. He's a monster, the worst predator alive, and if you wonder why nobody will confront or charge him, he's in charge of multiple hit shows for Nickelodeon.
Harvey Weinstein and Nickelodeon.
Rakes in oceans of money, tens of millions of dollars, multiplied by many years and many shows, not to mention his merchandising royalties. So Viacom, Nick warned him to cool it, then pay for his damn lawyers. What about the parents? No tweener parent who shoved their kid into the limelight from birth is going to cross him either and risk career suicide and a loss of revenue and residuals in future career, no matter how bad it fucks up the kids, especially if there's multiple kid actors in the family and the kid agents are complicit too. Just ask the Spears family, which you guys mentioned earlier. A lot of settlements get paid out from Viacom accounts.
Well, to sum it up, scandal. Dan Schneider has been accused for decades of strange behavior with children of the shows that he's been working on. Some allegations include having disturbingly long private meetings with young actresses from his TV shows. This is rumored to be a reason that Amanda Bynes had such a public meltdown. Though there isn't much proof, some online believe that Dan Schneider had sexually assaulted Bynes, and when she was working with him on the Amanda show, her father was also doing similar actions to her. But that's not a story for this video, that's for another complete video. Most of these allegations have very little solid proof, but to say Dan Schneider's behavior is a little weird is an understatement. There's tons of examples of him making underage female actresses do strange acts with their feet that are at the very least unethical and maybe serving some kind of fetish that he has. But like I said before, there is very little solid proof in the public. But in light of the recent Me Too movement, it seems that Nickelodeon is being cautious by cutting their ties to Dan Schneider, seemingly right now for no reason, but maybe they know something that we don't.
According to anonymous industry sources who spoke to Page 6, Schneider took a $7 million payout to leave. This comes as Deadline reports that Schneider would tweet photos of the feet of his young female stars and had, quote, well-documented temper issues for years that resulted in multiple complaints of abusive behavior against Schneider filed by members of his staff. Page 6 also points to more strange social media behavior, noting his habit of posting seemingly inappropriate videos of his actresses, including one of Ariana Grande in a revealing outfit dousing herself with water. Schneider's been at the center of countless internet rumors for many years now, which the outline detailed at length. A 2012 comment on an anonymous entertainment industry blog called Schneider, quote, the worst predator alive, and claimed that Schneider was the real father of Jamie Lynn Spears' child born in 2007. An extra on the Amanda Bynes show claimed on Reddit that Schneider paid them $100 to tickle their feet. There hasn't been any public allegations of sexual misconduct against Schneider by any of the actresses who worked with him in the vein of the Me Too, yet. A source close to Schneider strongly denied to Page 6 any allegations that he had acted inappropriately with his younger stars, but did admit that he could, quote, be an asshole.